What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be going over my best method to grade Pokemon cards. I've tried several different things over the past few years, and this is kind of what I've settled on is the best way to pre-grade your cards and prep them for grading. So this works for PSA, TAG, SGC, any grading company. Obviously now with the PSA submission tiers going up in price and the turnaround times increasing, I can understand if you're not sending your cards in right now to grade. Also, if you do want to go check out all my latest submissions, kind of see how I do and my results, you can go check those out. I have a pretty high gem rate, probably in that 70-80%, especially for Pokemon cards. I find that I'm pretty good at pre-grading and grading the Pokemon cards. Sports is a little bit different. There's different things to look after, so I'll make a different video going over sports cards in general, but all in all, I think it's practically the same steps, just a little bit nuances here and there that might be different. So let's get into the video. First up, what you're gonna need is definitely, I go with 2 microfiber cloths, one to put down on the table where you're laying your card, and then another one to wipe down the card. You obviously need your cards and sleeves. I'm just gonna use the sleeves in here that are already inside the top loaders, but using a fresh pack of sleeves normally is the smartest way to go about things. You're gonna need some card savers to send your cards in. Most grading companies require you to send your cards to them in these card savers. So you can use BCW, you can use the Cardboard Gold Card Saver 1, which is what I recommend and what I normally use. You can use Ultra Pro, whatever. Just make sure that they're like this standard size, 3 5/16 by 4 7/8. So that's kind of what you want to use for that. And then also what I've been using recently is a straw to kind of blow some moisture on the card and get some of the smudges out, as well as a card tool right here. So I'll link all this stuff also in my Linktree store, so you can go check it out. It'll be all organized for you if you guys don't have some of these supplies. So go check that out too. So yeah, this card tool has been pretty helpful, especially like flattening down any edge lifts on Pokemon cards. I don't really use it on sports cards at all because they don't really have that problem necessarily, but for Pokemon cards, definitely helpful. And then also I've been using this acrylic like clamp kit I got off eBay. So basically you put your card in between these 2 acrylic plates after you press it down with the card tool. Leave it there overnight or 2 nights in a row, and generally it will flatten the edge lifts or any like surface lifts that the card has. So that's been pretty helpful. I do not use any like card care or like card spray because PSA or the grading companies might think that the card's altered. So I would stay away from all that kind of stuff. I think that also, like, generally speaking, you don't need it. Obviously, if you just want to restore your card for your PC, then by all means, I think that stuff actually works pretty well from what I've seen. But for sending your cards in for grading, I generally stay away from that kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much what you need. Also, probably the most important thing actually is some sort of light source that you can hold your card up to. So this can be your phone flashlight, a different flashlight. I just have like 2 Amazon lights on either side of my like card setup that I hold the cards up to and kind of shine them under to look for any surface scratches or print lines. So pretty much any like light you can hold your card up to is going to be pretty necessary in order to pick up any of those surface imperfections. So a few cards here we're going to look over to see if they're gradable, if they're not, and if they're not gradable, why. I won't be sending them in. So let's look at this Suicune real quick. This is from Crown Zenith. Pretty nice card here. Also, like, I can make a whole different video going over the gem rates, what cards to look for. I think I'm gonna make another eBay like sniping video that I made a few months ago that did pretty well. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that, but I'll make a new updated one here soon. So taking this card out of the sleeve, we're gonna look first. My general thing that I look at is the centering. So especially when I'm sourcing cards on eBay, I always look at the centering first. Most cards you can just tell right off the bat if they're off-centered, and then you can immediately disqualify them from your grading process. So this one I do think is a little bit off-centered. If you look top to bottom, it's definitely a lot thinner down here, and also left to right, like right there is a lot thinner than this side right here. So I'm still gonna look over the rest of the card, but just based off that, I don't feel comfortable setting this one in. PSA does allow 55 to 45 on the front and 75, 25 on the back. Most of the time for Pokemon cards, I don't even like care about the back centering because they don't really care about that much. 75-25 is pretty egregious, so you can get away with a lot. But on the front, yeah, this definitely, I mean, who knows? Like PSA sometimes can let stuff fly. Other grading companies too, I've seen like a lot of CGC slabs that are well off centered, that the cards are well off centered that get 10s. So you never really know, but I like to err on the side of caution, especially with these grading turnaround times that keep increasing, or the prices that keep increasing. You really want to tighten up in your process and send in cards that you really think have a great shot at getting a 10. So other than that, Pokemon cards, normally the front surface is pretty clean. Still look it over, but they tend to scratch a lot less than, at least the modern ones do, tend to scratch a lot less than like modern sports cards do. So that looks good. The back of the card here, now that we're shining it under the light a little bit, looks pretty good as well. I'm not seeing any print lines or any like corner dings. So that's the main thing you want to look for on the back is white corners. Sometimes you'll see like little white dots, and we'll get to those in some of the other cards, but this one's pretty good. So I think the only thing holding this one back is that front centering left to right. If you guys can see, a lot thinner right there. So gonna be a no for that one for now, but definitely was close. Now let's take a look at this Haunter. So this Haunter right here is going for like, I think over $1,000 in a PSA 10. It has a really low gem rate, so it's a really hard card to grade. Not a lot of them come back as PSA 10s because generally promo cards are pretty hard to grade just because they're bouncing around in the sleeve they come in and everything. So let's take this one out and look at it. I bought this one because it looked really well centered on eBay, and the promo cards have like a little thing on the back so you can't really tell. Actually, I don't know if this one did, but like the special delivery Charizard, the GameStop Gengar has that card in the back, so you can't really tell the back condition. But this one definitely looks pretty well centered, I think. Maybe not perfect, maybe a little bit thicker down here on the bottom, but I think this is still within the range that PSA allows. The surface is pretty clean too, so I think this one is good to go on the front. On the back here, let's take a look, and sometimes you'll see like little like edge lifts. That's kind of what I'm talking about, that I'll show you guys in a little bit too how I flatten these out, but I do see a little bit whitening right there on that corner and this corner as well. So even that like little minute whitening can really ding the card. So just based off that, again, will not be setting this one in. I kind of figured when I bought it that had a low shot to get a PSA 10, so that's all right. But I do want to show you guys how I will try to flatten out those edges. Also, like if you have edge lifts on your card, so like, you know, on the bottom here or on the top, whatever, like sometimes that will happen with Pokemon cards. You'll have those little edge lifts, and same process will apply here. Basically, I'll lay my card down flat on this microfiber cloth. I will take my straw and just kind of blow on the corners or wherever the edge lift is to kind of moisten it up and allow the card to adapt to the pressure from the card tool. And then I will get my sleeve right here and place it on top of the card so I'm not scratching the card. I get my card tool and I gently start to press down on the edge of the card wherever the edge lift is. Sometimes it helps to put this acrylic plate down or some of the hard surface on underneath the card just so you're not like messing the card up at all. But yeah, just slowly start pressing down on this edge lift or on the corner there, wherever you need to work on. And then you can start doing a little bit more firmly too, or you can kind of like go outwards like that. So that tends to help. I would just keep working on it for just a couple minutes, a minute or two after you blew on it with the straw. Then all you do is put it back in the sleeve. People also put like 2 pieces of parchment paper instead of the sleeve to sandwich the card in between the plates. But I normally just put the sleeve down and then open up these acrylic plates if I can do it, and then place the card in there like so. Then you're gonna wanna clamp on the place that you kind of massaged out. So if I did the corners, I would do, 1 clamp on this corner, 1 clamp on this corner right there, and so on and so forth. Or let's say the edge lift was up here at the top, I would put the clamp down here right on top of the edge lift and kind of balance that with the other 3 clamps. So that's kind of a quick little tutorial about how I handle the edge lifts, but I can make a more in-depth video too if that's something you guys are interested in. So let's go over, like, I don't know, 2 more cards here. Go over the Zapdos real quick. So looking at this card, again, bought this one. The centering looked really, really good on eBay, and looking at it from this angle, I do think it looks very well centered as well. Definitely a lot better than that first card we looked at. A really cool card here. I love this Zapdos from 151. Looking at the back here, we are going to see a lot of whitening down here. So that's pretty bad. You really can't get away with any whitening on Pokemon cards. So that is definitely an issue. We'll not be setting this one in, unfortunately, but looking at the rest of the back, it does look pretty good. There's no print lines or anything like that. Sometimes you'll see like a print line going across vertically or horizontally. Those, like, you can get away with setting cards in with print lines and getting 10s. I've done it before. Kind of depends on how faint the print line is. And also what grader you get, honestly. So let's say you did find like a smudge or something like that on the card. This is another time I'd use a microfiber cloth. So I'd lay it down flat right there. And then I would put down the card like so. And wherever the smudge is, I will just blow a little bit with the straw right on top of it, or just use my like breath, like I'll just breathe in the card like this, and just get some moisture on there. It's kind of disgusting, I know, but it does work. And then with your other cloth, just make sure that there's no wrinkles or anything like that, and that you start gently like rubbing the card, kind of loosening it up, the whatever like debris or whatever is on the card. So that tends to work. Again, Pokemon cards, normally I just give it a quick wipe down with the cloth, something like that before I put it in the sleeve to send off for grading. But when you do send like sports cards in, a lot of them will have like surface scuffs, and that's when I really use the cloth and really work on the card and make sure that the surface looks clean. So we'll go ahead and put this Zapdos back. Pretty unfortunate. Great binder copy though. Like, that's a card that if you're not in the grading and you just want to display it in your binder or something like that, like, this would be a really good copy because it's really well centered and the front is really clean. Just the back corner is pretty messed up. So gonna put that one back. This Meowth, we can go over real quick as well. I just sent a few of these to PSA myself. This one looks decently centered. It's a little bit thin right on this side, so not super certain if I would send this one in. Top to bottom looks pretty good, maybe a little bit thick down there, but again, left to right matters more than top to bottom. So looking at the back of the card, looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and shine it under the light. All the corners look very blue, no whitening, which is like what we want to see. And then the back centering is well within the range, 75-25. So I think the back passes the test. There's no print lines or anything. Only thing I'd be really worried about is that centering on the front, left to right. This is a card that I would send in if the turnaround times are a bit less and the value bulk option was still available. I'd take a shot on it. Probably would pre-grade it like a 9.5, meaning, part of me thinks still get a 9, part of me thinks still get a 10. Obviously, PSA doesn't do half grades, but this card, like, I think it looks pretty good. It looks pretty clean. This is kind of what you're looking for in a card to send the PSA. Again, like, the main thing I think is the centering and the back corners. Like, that's what you really want to look after. If those 2 things check out, then the rest of the card looks pretty good, and you have a good chance to send it in and get a 10. If those don't check out, you're kind of screwed. So before you like send a bunch of cards in that you haven't looked over, really take your time, shine it under the light. If you want to get one of those apps to, do the centering, or they have like centering tools on eBay, you can get one of those. I don't use those too much, but you can definitely do it if you want to, and they can help. But yeah, the main thing that I would stress is just look over the card under the light, make sure there's no surface imperfections or white corners or white edges. If there's an edge lift, you can try to massage it down with the card tool, put it into the acrylic plates, leave it overnight or for a night or 2. Just don't like work on it too much, you might damage the card. And then obviously the centering, just make sure that it's within the range. Other than that, it's pretty easy. I've done really well with my Pokemon submissions. Like I said, go back and check my recent videos for those, and you can also check my Patreon for my card grading ebook, and then also I have an inventory tracker on there that keeps track of all your purchases, sales, your grading submissions, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of it. Obviously, like I mentioned, if you wanted to send this card in for grading, you just throw it in a new sleeve and then put it in one of these card savers right here. And then I can make a different video again going over how to send your cards to PSA, maybe once they open back up the value tiers. Hopefully this video helped you guys learn how to grade cards if you're new, or gave you some more tips and pointers if you have been grading cards but just wanted different perspective on things. So thank you guys for watching, and peace out.